welcome to Touchstone Center for Crafts. My name is Julia Castor. I am the ceramics technician here this year, and I am currently here with Sigrid Zahner, who has been teaching a fabulous mold making class here at Touchstone for the past week. Thank you for being here and talking with me.
Thank you for inviting me.
So I'm gonna ask you a couple questions, and the first one would be, can you tell us a little bit about your background? Were the arts a big part of your life growing up? What was an early influence in getting you into this field?
So it's funny, I was raised by a family of musicians in London, and I was a musician from the age of 9 to 22, but in between, and it was sort of the family business. I mean, everyone played and did that kind of thing. But I really loved art from a very early age. I remember my very first ceramic piece that I made in kindergarten, believe it or not. I always couldn't quite understand when people said I can't draw. I thought, well, of course they can draw. They just need to, draw what's in front of them.
It just came naturally.
Yes, and I just loved it. But I was always told you can't do art as a living, and I was a musician, so it didn't really. It never even occurred to me. But I was very lucky when I went to high school that I met our high school teacher was the goddaughter of Lucy Ree, and she'd studied with Bernard Leach, and she was one of the Leach production potters when she left college, and she really was so kind to me, and I don't know if that was really it, but I felt like I met the first person who was in my tribe, as it were. But of course I carried on being a musician. And then at the age of 22 in grad school, I went to the Royal Academy of Music, I went to grad school in France, and I just went, this isn't it. And I ran away to America. Lots of reasons for doing that. And then I lived in LA for a while, and I fell into another art form, acting, which everyone does in LA, I guess. And finally I had children, my husband moved us to Indiana, and the agreement was if I went to Indiana, I'd go to art school, and that's where it really started for me. And I was a painter more than anything, but I just had a fantastic ceramics professor there.
So did you enter art school as a painter and then switch?
Kind of, yes. Yeah.
Wow. And can you just tell me a little bit about the timeline, like how old were you when you did?
I was old. I'm not going to tell you how old, but if you're over 30,
you're considered
5, and you're like, I'm too old for art school, you're not.
Yeah, that is very nice to hear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do not, and I've been telling, we've got some wonderful students in this class, and 2 of them are considering going back to art school, and they're older, and I keep saying, do it, because the problem is a lot of people are told, like I was, it's, art isn't something you can earn a living at, and you can, and if you're an artist, it'll never go away. It will. You know what? Just give into it. And one of them, I said, well, are you willing to live in a trailer? And she said yes. Not that you have to live in a trailer, but you need to be willing to give up the thing, because it's a hard struggle, and people do not encourage it, but everyone envies it. I have the best life I can imagine, and I teach at a university. I'm very lucky that I have that job and that support. I'm never bored. I love passing it on to the next generation, and the best job every day is a joy going to work. So
that's wonderful to hear. My goodness. So your background as a musician, I mean, you've always kind of been, and then acting, you've been in the arts.
Yes.
Was it always for you a given that you would work professionally in the arts?
No, not at all, because I had no encouragement. Even when I was at art school, and because I was slightly older, people were very negative about it. Younger students always treat you like you're just a hobbyist or something, and you have to be incredibly single-minded. But as I said, if you are an artist, you just stop listening, and the work itself is so compelling, and it drives you. The exploration of materials, it's just one of those things that, look, if you're not an artist and you're doing it to be famous, it's not going to work. But if you are an artist and you're like, look at this material, what can I do with this? Or you wake up and you go, in the middle of the night, you go, oh, I know what I'm going to do with that. And you know if you are.
Yes.
It's not for the faint-hearted. But you know what? It's also, don't suppress it, because it will re-emerge time and time and again until you finally go. Don't wait till you're retired to be an artist.
It won't let you go.
It doesn't let you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what it's like? I was thinking about this the other day when people say I was born gay. Yeah, no kidding. I was born an artist, and I don't mean I was born like that, but I mean it's like one of those things that you are what you are.
Yes.
You are what you are.
It's in your DNA.
Yeah. So you can deny it, but yes. Sorry, was that too long-winded?
No,
Okay,
that
good.
was brilliant. So can you briefly discuss your educational path through the arts and what that was like for you, and
Okay,
would you recommend it?
Absolutely, I would recommend it. However you want to do it, because I know you're taking a quite unusual route.
Personally,
And I always feel like, look, undergrad is so important, or ateliers, because it gives you the dedicated time in the studio to make mistakes and explore what you really want to do, and have good technical advice. People often say, oh, you don't need to go to an art school, you can just express yourself. It gives you stand on the shoulders of experts. No one says, oh, you don't need to go and learn how to play the violin, you can work it out yourself. It's just doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen overnight, nor does being a ballet dancer happen overnight. Why does being an artist happen overnight?
I've always wondered that.
So I have nothing but good things to say about undergrad, and then my students in this class this week have been talking about grad school, and the thing about grad school is it's another 3 years of deep exploration. You finally choose your real field of what you're interested in, because by that time you know, and the community of feedback is just absolutely exceptional. I mean, you can't pay for that. So, and it's tough. I mean, it's not easy, and a lot of people find it very distressing because it seems like it's so critical, but it's
Just
the kind of thing you need.
Necessary for growth. So on that kind of ending note of the toughness of it, was there a failure in your path in this field that kind of pushed you forward, and that you now look back on and you see it as
It's
a positive
funny
thing?
because I never really thought I was going to take a grad. I really wanted to just get an undergrad so I could work in a studio and work things out, and, learn some things, because I was older and I thought I can just do this myself. And during my undergrad, I was older, and there was a very unpleasant younger professor that came in as a visiting professor, and he had an MFA, but he treated everyone so badly, and as if having an MFA made him better than everyone else. And it wasn't just, I just didn't think his work was that strong either, and I thought, and it was sort of like, it doesn't matter how good you are unless you have an MFA, which is ridiculous, because a lot the MFA really is to help you develop, but it's also a teaching, for teachers, for teaching at the college level. And I thought, I better get a grad degree so that I get left alone, so that I don't get treated automatically like you can't be any good because you don't have an MFA, which I think is a very important lesson to learn. Do not think that if you have one, you're good, or if you don't have one, you're not good. I've got a friend who's a working studio artist, and she's fantastic, but she's older, and she keeps saying to me, I wonder if I should get an MFA. And I'm like, oh my God, you have the studio in the woods that everyone wants, you show, your work is in galleries. Do you want to teach at the university level? And she says, hell no. And I go, don't get one. She's really accomplished. So there's all kinds of ways. I just, literally, I can honestly say, I just did it so that I could put the naysayers aside. It was like armor for me.
Were there enough that it was like, it's just like, I've had it?
It was a little bit like that, because as a woman, especially, I'm of a certain age, as a woman it was tougher. It's still tough as women, but it was tougher to be an older woman and try and get any respect at all. It was just very difficult. So I felt like I had to have all the equipment that I needed, all the tools to be taken seriously, just so that I could continue to work even. So that's why.
On that note, and this is not in our list of questions, but I wanted to ask you, do you have any advice for women going into this field and trying to work professionally in this field? Because I know you talk a lot about that, and you're very eloquent about those things. And
Yes.
I'd love to hear.
So
your thoughts.
women, first of all, younger women respect the older women in the field, and not just the famous ones. Respect the ones who, because you are standing on their shoulders, because it is tough. It has been tough. You know, anyway, I won't go, but that sometimes people come into power and, you know, everyone's like, oh, what a terrible man, and blah, blah, blah. And the older women are like, this is what we've lived with all our lives. So younger women, you need to respect older women because they have helped pave the way for you. And be fearless. Be fearless. Work with the people you want to work with. So I say, if you want to go to school or grad school, find out the artists that you love, see if they're teaching, go there. And you have to ignore the naysayers. You have to. You just can't let them say you can't be an artist, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you can. But I say be fearless, take up the space you need. You have as much right as anybody to be there and work, and just embrace the failure, because there's going to be a lot of it, but the failure is what you stand on.
It's what drives you forward and develop a thick skin.
Yeah. Well, it's not that, it's what develops your work.
Yes.
The failure is what you can't, you're not going to make a masterpiece to start off with. You've got to do a lot of bad work. That would be my advice, make a lot of bad work, because suddenly something good will come out of it. Don't go, oh, it's terrible, I can't.
Yeah.
Bad work is your friend. Right? It sounds odd to say
But no,
that.
you're right. You're right, and I've experienced it myself, so I know what you mean. So let me just ask you okay, so here's a good question. Was there a white whale moment for you, an achievement that happened that just like influenced and inspired how you
like the Moby Dick white whale kind of thing? Okay, the thing that I thought this has to happen.
Yeah.
One of it was when I looked around and I thought, I actually can do this.
Yeah.
You know, especially when I'm seeing people with MFAs and I think, I wonder how they managed to. I mean, it's a little bit sort of negative, but there's a little bit of that. You think, oh, I can work in this field. The other one was probably the white whale for me this is more of an aha moment when one of my graduate professors said, oh, this semester I want you working in this medium. And I thought to myself, well, I'm not doing that. And I suddenly realized that my voice was there. That was the voice of me as an artist. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I didn't want to do. And he was sort of giving me projects. And I was like, that's not what I'm doing here. And you want to pay attention to that voice.
Yeah.
It's not a question of you're not giving me the right information. It's a question of, that doesn't really speak to me.
Yeah.
That's when you know you've sort of got there as an artist. That doesn't really answer the white whale thing, does it?
No,
I think
but it was a moment for you.
I'll tell you the moment when I really felt like I'd arrived, when pieces that I thought weren't very good went to a show at a museum hall. And I was like, I mean, you know, when you're in a museum, and I say that to myself, I go, actually, and I'm in 4, I actually say to myself, you know, you always have doubt, and I say, the car's going by, sorry, and I say, oh, I'm not even an artist, why am I doing it? And then this other little voice that's my friend says, you're in 4 museums, it's fine.
Yeah.
And it's not that that's it, but you know, every time you get into a show, every time someone buys your work, you go, I got into a show. Someone just bought a pair of my earrings, or a pair, you know, that is what you need to hold on to. Someone, if it's one person, that's it.
Yeah, especially when you're having those struggles.
Usually yourself as well.
Yeah.
When you say, I don't care what anyone says, I really like it. Or it's important to me. It's there's a balance, but there's something about being your own cheerleader. You're going to hear a lot of negativity.
Yeah. It seems especially in the arts, there's a lot of negativity.
Yeah, I think you know, everywhere. Look at all the actors who get turned down, and writers. I mean, people submit books, 25 books, or a book 25 times before it gets accepted. It's a lot of rejection. So,
well, to close off our little interview, which has been fabulous, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
How did you hear about Touchstone, and what is your opinion of the craft school experience and as an educational tool?
Okay, so the funny thing about Touchstone is, so we get a lot of request that the university that I teach at to, which is Purdue University, by the way. I just want to say that because
put that plug in.
Purdue, we have a small but mighty art department. We get a lot of, information about it. And the reason I was looking through it because we give scholarships to our students to go in these workshops like Penland and everything. But Touchstone had that little sort of quirky, we focus only on the crafts, and but the thing that really got me was, I'm going to do a shout out to Anna Koplik, who is one of the blacksmith professors here, or teachers here, and I was just starting a blacksmithing sort of area in our sculpture department at Purdue, and we had one forge, and I thought, we were banging around, and I thought, God, I should just take this blacksmithing class with Anna, because first of all, she's a woman blacksmithing, and she's very young. I think she was under 30 when I took it, and it just blew me away. Well, first of all, the blacksmithing facility, I walked in and I went, holy shit, and Anna was in there and she was like, that's what I like to hear. It was like a blacksmithing cathedral.
Yes, it is.
And it was extraordinary, and the experience just blew my mind. And what I love about Anna, she comes in and she's actually very girly and smiley, and she has painted nails, and then it's like pa-chang. And she would do these demos, and they would take her like 20 minutes, and it would take us 2 days to get them. And she was just absolutely marvelous. I think she's an incredible artist.
And we get a lot of those here.
Yes, but she just blew my mind. And it was all men and me, and she just had everyone just eating out of her hand. And it just was such a wonderful community, and I thought, I want to give back. And so I asked if I could propose a class, and Travis said, yes, you can. And it's funny, I didn't even see the ceramic studio because all I did, I worked in the blacksmithing thing. It was like 10, 12 hours a day. But so I proposed it, and then they accepted my proposal, and it's been an incredibly wonderful experience.
Well, really. I can't wait to have you back next year.
I'm going to propose another one. I already know what the students I have here. Yes, I hope you do too. I'm going to request you. I'm going to say I'm only coming if Julia takes my tech. So.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been a real privilege.
Same.
So,